Welcome back to the next piece of the sleeper car. As a part of FTF goals, we started with fantasy and now we've moved on to theory. Now, in order for something to become theory, the question needs to be answered, why do you want whatever it is that you want? The why is incredibly important. If you see behind me, Muhammad Ali, great boxer, and he would psych out his opponents before the fight even started. And he knew exactly what he wanted, and he was on I guess he was on the offense as soon as the match began, right? So you have to think about that same thing, like why is it that you want what you want? And so there are three steps in order to establish this particular piece of creating and manifesting your goals and the things you actually want. So the first step is to build the capability. You actually need to have that reason put in place, and that reason needs to get really, really strong and very, very powerful. The next piece, too, would be activating your reasoning factor or the capability. And I'll explain that in a moment. But when you activate that capability, you're changing the fantasy from something that is more of a fantasy into something that's more intellectual or real. And then last but not least, number three is you actually have to pass a test. Now, it's a test that you're more than more than capable of passing, but you actually have to pass certain parameters in order to form this theory and put it actually into place. So going back to step one, building capability, this is where the reason actually gets formed. In order to establish or build the reason, you have to have one. So you don't just want any reason, but you want a strong reason of why it is it that this is the thing that putting it in your life can change things for the better. So I knew what I wanted with a sleeper car, but I had to have a better reason for it. So a sleeper car would be great because you'd be at a light, and folks wouldn't think you could move as fast as you actually could, but all you had to do is just decide you were going to go and you just be flying, right? And that's what I feel like my personality is. I may be someone who's very quiet once you first get to meet me, but once you actually know me, I can open up very quickly and I can essentially demonstrate a lot of things that you necessarily didn't expect to come from me. So that's what I wanted in a car that essentially helped to further, I guess, express myself, a sleeper car. So, in looking at that a little bit deeper, I had to come up with reasons that were going to be stronger than just wanting it, but what would it actually provide once I actually had it? And so, looking at that, I know that the vehicle would actually serve my family. It would give the comfort to them that they actually deserve. I work um, lots of hours. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm always working on something. But I also like to play hard. And I also like to enjoy myself, and being able to serve not only myself but my family and putting that into place, I would feel be very important. So being able to serve my family with a vehicle, making sure that they were safe and that they were comfortable, that's a strong reason. So that's something that I actually put in place. Another reason, it would serve me professionally. And the way that I look at that is it would change the perception associated with me based on the other vehicles that I have. So I have two older vehicles. The paint isn't in the best shape. So sometimes people associate what the vehicle looks like with me. And again, regardless of whether it's true or not, that's what people actually see. So with what this other vehicle would actually represent, it would give people a different perception of me, not even knowing me, but meeting me for the first time. And sometimes that can be a very important thing, especially if you're meeting with a client, if you're meeting with, someone that you're looking to put a good impression on the first time you actually meet them. So I know that would actually help me immensely, just with a number of the endeavors that I'm actually working on. And last but not least, a gift or reward for myself for managing the struggles and allowing myself to create financial freedom. So, if you've ever thought about having a reward or a gift at the end of a long journey, that can be something to strive for. And I would consider something like this to be a reward for all the work that I've done in the past and just building up to something that I can look back at and I can say, you know what? I did it. I did exactly what I set out to do. And this is my reminder every day of actually doing that. So those are three of my reasons for wanting the sleeper car. And I believe they are strong reasons that will only grow with time. And then in order to create certainty around the fantasy, I know I'm someone that once I start, I'm not want to quit, and I follow through to the end. So that's going to serve me very, very well as far as putting that reason together and just allowing it to grow and make it stronger. So that's number one. That's my reason. Now, the next piece is how do you actually activate the reasoning factor of the capability? You're looking to essentially change from fantasy to something intellectual or to make it something real. So the reason actually gives you the why, but you still need to make this idea that you're looking to create real. So there's actually some steps that actually can help with that. That can help with that. So from an idea to why it would work, that's essentially what you're looking to essentially pass. So you're taking that idea and you're putting into something that okay, this is going to be real and this is why it's going to be real. So you want to release the reason and allow it to actually build momentum and continue to build steam. So if you can actually get support from your environment to do that, that can help even more. So it's not something you essentially want to keep inside, it's something you actually want to share. So I get feedback and buy-in from my family and from my friends, and that actually they help me. They support me in that decision that I actually make. So it's not just the energy coming from me; it's also the energy coming from them that's allowing that those reasons to grow and actually gain momentum. So it's really important. You have to let people know what you're doing and why you're doing it. They need to know your reasons because they can give those reasons even more power themselves. And what I do is I actually share what I'm doing with my family and friends so that my reasons actually build momentum. They don't build momentum just with me, they build momentum within the environment they're actually within. So that's two. So three is actually passing the test. So when you pass a test, the fantasy that you've actually come up with, it then becomes theory. You set it in place, so it's just this idea, and it's starting to get momentum, and it's becoming real, and it's helping you actually set this goal. Now, in order for that to happen, something that's really important that not a lot of people necessarily think about is you need to be thankful and grateful for even having the opportunity to do this in the first place. That's a necessary capacity in order to create something and have it be real. If you're thankful for it, that it does a lot in creating power for it, the same way that your friends and your family and your colleagues can help you build that as well. And what you want to consider with this is just be thankful for the opportunity to actually pursue what it is or whatever it is that you're pursuing, the freedom to actually pursue that, and the chance to actually make it real. And once you have this, the answers to the next two questions actually become a lot easier. You actually need to address these two questions in order to make that transition from fantasy to theory or creating something that's a reality. Uh, you can do it better than you're currently doing it. You always have to recognize it. There's always something that you haven't figured out yet, but you're continuing the journey. You're continuing to allow it to grow. And you don't have to do it well. You just need to do it. You just have to do it. That's all. So being able to put everything together, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to do the little steps to make it a routine and for it to gain momentum. And the way that I like to look at it is pretend as though it's a seed in a garden and it gets planted in the garden of your mind. You want that seed to continue to grow and germinate and just continue to flourish. And it operates in one way. It can't not change anything. So in other words, once you actually start that process of helping something to grow and to flourish, it only goes in one direction. So you have to keep making sure that that momentum's moving it forward. And the two questions that you actually want to answer along with this, once you actually have that gratitude in place and you're thankful for the opportunity, is making that transition from fantasy to theory are two really, really important questions. The first question is, am I able? So you have to do something you have not done before. You have to be willing to do that, but that's going to be the next part. But you have to be able. So do you have the confidence to say, yes, I'm going to continue moving forward, even though I don't know what those steps are going to be? So the am I able is you had to be willing to push forward through uncertainty. And this is something that I have done before. I just needed to recognize that I needed to be patient with the process and be ready when the opportunity actually presents itself. So that's the first big question. Am I able? The second question is, am I willing? So there is a price. You had to be willing to pay that price, not knowing what that price is. So there's uncertainty again. You had, will you push forward with certainty and conviction, even when the environment deals you uncertainty? And that's something that you're pushing through yourself. The price will be what I determine to be a good deal in regards to the sleeper car, and I commit to searching for good deals all the time. So I am blessed that this is not a position of urgency for me. So that's essentially my statement as far as, am I willing, and am I able, as I've done it before. So having those in place, am I able and am I willing, and being able to answer yes to both of those, now the theory is in place. It is no longer a fantasy, it is theory. And the theory is something that is real, and it's something that I'm moving towards and pushing towards. And that's why I want what I want. So I don't know what you want, but I hope you appreciated the steps that I've laid out in order to identify why you want what you want. And I look forward to the reasons that you're actually able to put together so that you can form in your mind why this isn't a fantasy, why this is something that is becoming real and continue to becoming real. And on the next segment, we are going to talk about the last piece, which is a fact. When will it happen? That's always the big question. How long will it take? When will it happen? But you got to tune in to hear all the details and the thought process going behind that part. So until the next clip, I'll catch you later. All right.